Thank you so very much for joining me today for this Reiki healing shamaness medicine woman session. Today I wanted to pull and kind of get those lower vibrational cords and tethers out of you, and I also wanted to speak on some goddess knowledge, incarnate things that have been circulating around mankind or society. So I hope everyone's having a good morning so far. If you're watching this at night, tonight I hope you had a good day at work. So this is selenite. This is very important to incorporate every day into your routine. If you do protective crystals, you want to take selenite rod and pair it with some black tourmaline, okay? And then put it together so it can ward off bad negative energy, so you can be protected, as well as smoky quartz, which is a force field of protection around your aura, okay? So today we're going to do kind of like a curse breaker Reiki ASMR session. So what is a curse? Okay. This stems from the evil eye. This stems from people who don't have the best intentions for you, who have ulterior motives, people who may be jealous of you, in competition, in secret competition with you, envy you, want something or someone you have in your circle, or maybe they just simply lack the gifts and the powers that you have, whether you have a psychic power, or you've got a heart of gold, or you have a husband. The evil eye can come, unfortunately, in many forms. Or if you have a talent, you know, if you're an artist or a singer and someone else doesn't have that particular talent, they could become very envious of you, which stems from the evil eye. So this is a Shiva's eye gate. This is very important to keep around you if you've been the target, and I kind of hate to use that word, but of evil eye attacks. And you know, that's kind of a harsh word, but you need to use this and incorporate this in your routine. Okay, so if you feel, even if you're at work and someone's in secret competition with you, or it could be someone in your circle, whether it's a family member, a friend, and they could be secretly jealous of you, you don't even know it, or they could secretly envy the relationship you have, you know? Some people don't even notice these things. You know, jealousy is the #1 leading cause of homicide. It's horrible in society. And I was going to talk about societal norms and things like this, and to break conditioning from societal norms, but that might be for another video tomorrow or maybe this weekend, I'm not sure. So we're going to do some ASMR tapping now. You always want to keep your energy and your aura clean and protected. And this might be a little bit of faster, aggressive tapping, because in this day and age, honestly, I hate to say this like this, but it kind of is a dog-eat-dog world. There's a lot of, and I hate to say this, men who don't know how to be men anymore. I'm not saying all men. And they don't know how to take care of divine feminines, you know, and we're really suffering in this day and age, the divine feminines who maybe karmics, lower vibrational basic betties who aren't awakened, or maybe they are awakened but they use their powers and their gifts for the worse of mankind instead of the greater of mankind. They kind of took masculines away, our you know, our backbone, the backbones of the family, the providers, the protectors. And this is why I say a lot of men don't know how to be in their masculine energy anymore, because the roles really reversed in society to the point where, you know, I understand women are rising, but then men want to blame it on feminists, and in no way, shape, or form am I a feminist, but it really is an excuse, to the point where they just don't want to take accountability and play their masculine role. And a lot of men don't know how to be masculine. There's not a lot of men who are born with the masculine fire anymore. A lot of men inside are very soft and feminine, you know, and that's fine. But we're losing out in mankind of a lot of divine masculines, and some divine feminines are really suffering. And for the divine feminines out there, the 144s, the awakened ones, the goddesses, you know, depending on what type of goddess incarnate or what type of spiritual incarnate you are, whether it's a 777 bird, 7 others, bird landing, a bird phoenix incarnate is what I'm trying to say, an angelic incarnate, even a fairy incarnate, you know divine masculines are needed among your community. You know, if you're a divine feminine and you've had your divine masculine ripped away from you from karmics and lower vibrational, just like basic bitches, because what they do is they get in, and it stems from the evil eye. This is why I'm talking about this. The lower vibrational basic unawakened betties, or the ones who abuse their powers, or say that they're clairvoyant, you know, and say they're prophetesses, and say there's pastors in the churches, they're pastor in the churches and stuff like this. They will abuse their powers to where they will use very corruptive speech with their tongue, which is energy, which correlates and traces back to the evil eye, because it's power of the tongue, and that traces back to energy, which everything's intertwined in the evil eye. So a thought, a word, a figure of speech, all of these can be used for the greater good or the worse of mankind, to the point where there's a lot of evil energy manipulators out there, and they will take what is wrongfully theirs, what is rightfully yours. They will destiny swap you. They'll destiny swap the divine feminine's divine masculine for a karmic partner, to the point where, and I'm speaking on this not only from personal experience, but I'm speaking on this because back in I would say around 2017, 2018, before the pandemic, and this is a smoky amethyst, we're going to use this to cut cords. Back then, the Twinflame collective got shaken up by lower vibrational betties and karmics, karmic partners, whether it was a poisonous enmeshed mother with their divine masculine son who planted seeds in his head, hypothetically, and turned him away from his divine feminine queen, or his divine empress, you know, his twin flame, the mirror of his soul, the other half of his soul, to the point where the Twin Flame collective got shaken up, and divine masculines were taken from the divine feminines and placed with karmic partners. And it was a huge war and just a huge attack on the divine feminine collective, to the point where divine feminines, they felt so, first of all, they lost fragments of their souls, okay, because the divine masculine and the divine feminine were one soul in the afterlife. You know, they made a soul pact agreement, both of them under a divine contract from source, from universe, from the gods, to incarnate on earth and bring all of that deep twin flame love and healing, and then also have that relationship with each other to heal mankind. I'm part of the 144s. There's only 144,000 twin flames in this whole world out of 7.5, almost 8 billion people. So we're a very, very small percentage, okay? Some people were mistaking their soulmate connections for being a twin flame. But no, I actually am part of a twin flame partnership or dynamic. And back then, the twin flame divine feminine collectives went through a huge soul fragmented loss. It was soul fragmentation, to where after our divine masculines were manipulated by these evil energy, lower vibrational, dark karmic witches, you know, these dark karmic females, they were taken from the divine feminines, and pieces of our souls were like flying into the forest, like they were moving away from us, because our divine masculines got wrongfully stolen. And this was not the dark karmic witches, this was not the dark karmic feminine, they were not even feminines, I wouldn't even go far and even call them that, but the dark karmic witches who did this, they were masking themselves in prophetesses, and they were masking themselves as witches, but they didn't even have power. The only thing that they had was manipulation, which stems from the evil eye, okay? Because they were jealous. They coveted divine feminine's men. They coveted the way divine masculines loved us divine feminines. They were very jealous and envious, and they wanted to destroy it. So it was a huge fall that the divine feminine collective went through when our divine masculines were wrongfully stolen from us. And some of us had children with our divine masculines. That was supposed to be the rock of our family, the protectors, the providers. And we went through a huge soul fragmented loss, as well as the heart chakras of divine feminines got busted wide open, okay? And regular people, not on a spiritually awakened or a spiritual path of evolvement or any spiritual awakenings, they didn't understand this. So the divine feminines were labeled as nuts or insane or crazy, okay, which wasn't fair, because most of the karmics, they knew that they were from darker realms. They knew what they were doing, and they did this purposely to take away divine feminine's power, which was the love of her twin flame divine masculine. So they felt pleasure. It was sadistic in seeing the divine feminine, and even their children, the twin flame children of the twin flame collective, they took pleasure in seeing these families of these twin flame children, the twin flame divine masculine, divine feminine parents suffer, which is very sadistic. And then, they have the balls to go into church and then blame it on a Diablo, and then call an ancient god like Lucifer or his brother Satan, that it was their fault, that, oh, well, the enemy, did it, I didn't do it. And then they weren't taking accountability, and they were putting this on an ancient god who, tried to have mankind, you and I, revered for our gifts and powers, because they wanted us to come up and come into our truth, our light, shine our love and what is in our heart chakras on mankind. They were demonized, okay? The fallen angels were demonized. And so lots of these dark karmic witches, they could have been your auntie, they could have been your sister, they could have been your mom, they could have been your grandmother, and they were putting just negative seeds, planting these seeds in the divine masculine's head, to the point where it took, some of them took months, some weeks, and some just did this for years, to slowly turn the divine masculine away from the divine feminine. So that would take away, like, shut off his heart light, shut off his love to her, turn away from her, take that power away from the divine feminine, and then give it therefore to a karmic, which made these negative energy, manipulative, low vibrational Bettys, or these dark karmic witches, it made them feel satisfied, it made them feel happy. It was a sadistic, very masochistic thing, to the point where they were feeding off of divine feminine's power. They were feeding off of the divine feminine's pain because of the loss of her other fragmented part of her soul, which was the divine masculine's love, and the way he showed her provision and care, and the way he loved the divine feminine. And these dark karmic witches thought they were reigning for a while, but now divine masculines are awakening. There are different levels of masculinities. There's different levels of and groups of twin flames, but the group now that is coming into a mass shift consciousness of divine masculines, they're starting to wake up, and they're starting to realize, okay, I betrayed my divine feminine. I am miserable in this partnership with this karmic. A lot of them got negatively energy manipulated, because their negative energy seed planters, the basic Bettys, the dark karmic witches, were putting things in their heads, saying that, oh, well, she could provide for you. And this is where divine masculinity, okay, today is needed, where like there's a lot of divine masculines are not stepping into their power, or they're giving it away to lower vibrations, which are the dark karmic witches, to the point where they're actually trading in their divine masculinity for a more softer, like a divine feminine role, to the point where they're allowing, you know, women who have more divine masculinity in them, okay, because not every man is a masculine. Some men, like I said earlier, are feminine inside, but some of the divine masculines, you know, will trade their roles in being, they'll stand down, they'll want the woman to provide, which is very popular in society these days. They'll want the woman to have, you know, a great career and work, while they kind of fall back and act as a woman, or like they will fall back and act soft like a divine feminine, to the point where, you know, they'll stay home more, and then the woman will be in her masculine energy, and then she'll be working more. You know, so, and a lot of these seed planters from these basic lower vibrational Bettys who negatively energy manipulated the divine masculines out of their divine masculine role will be like, oh, well, you'll have a better lifestyle with, you know, karmic Kara, and she'll provide you this. Oh, and then she'll act like, you know, the divine feminine ain't shit. And this is where they feed off of this type of relationship. So then they destroy a beautiful, you know, source, divine given relationship, because they're energy vampires and they feed off of, okay, well, you know, he's with karmic Kara now. He's not with divine Deanna anymore. You know, divine Deanna lost her power, like she lost her man, haha. And then they get this disgusting ego that grows and feeds off of this. And trust me, this was very common back in 2018, 2019, 2020, all the way up until last year. And some of them, it's still going. Like, they're still feeding off of that pain and that, you know, that soul fragmented loss, and that love that was lost between the divine feminine, divine masculine collective. So it's important to clear this. So we're going to be using this to pull out all of these basic Betty, lower vibrational, okay, hooks and tethers from divine feminines who, you know, maybe lost their divine masculine and lost his support because he was brainwashed or hooked into, negatively energy manipulated into not loving his divine feminine anymore. And a lot of them are now coming to realization and are waking up to, okay, I made the wrong choice. And some of the divine masculines will even come forward to you, divine feminines, and they will personally tell you. They will personally, some will apologize and take responsibility because they're coming out of all of this darkness and they're coming to realization and they're blossoming, coming back to their divine masculine selves, and they're seeing that, you know, their mom or your sister or whoever was wrong about the divine feminine, and he's learned and he's suffered as well, just like, because, you know, he's not with the divine feminine when the divine masculine is not with the divine feminine. You know, he doesn't get her sacred yoni. Divine feminines, we have, you know, very sacred yoni centers, very sacred goddess wombs. Karmics don't have yonis like us, so that nectar and that, you know, all of that love as well from our heart chakras, that's not being fed and nourished to the divine masculine. So he is also realizing, okay, like, this is fucking not worth it. I don't love karmic Kara. You know, my heart still lies with divine Diana or divine Deanna, or divine Drea, whoever, my divine feminine. So lots of divine masculines, you know, they'll even admit this to their dark karmics, whether it was their mother or, you know, their cousin or their sister or their stepsister or even their daughters. They'll be like, look, I don't love karmic Kara. I regret, you know, ever meeting her or, you know, being in a relationship with her. I'm very unhappy, you know. And or, you know, the dark karmics, they will see that the divine masculines are stressed the fuck out, and then they will go back. Some of them will literally play in your face, and they'll go to the divine feminines and call them up. It personally happened to me, to where my ex-mother-in-law called me. This was last year, and she was like, your divine masculine, he regrets marrying this karmic. He regrets it. He's miserable in that marriage. He regrets, abandoning the connection, and he is miserable, and he misses you, and he loves you, and I know this. And this woman has sat there and played in my face for years and planted for 6-7 years him to turn away from our love, okay? And it was a huge soul fragmented loss that I had to go through, to where, and that he went through, because I remember he didn't want it. I remember he was so adamant, and he was so like, I'm coming back. Like, I don't know why I can't come back to you. And then I found out that his mother was secretly going behind our backs, and she had planned and planted this whole scenario and situation, to the point where she made friends with his now wife, the karmic that he ended up marrying. And she went to their wedding. She was telling me one thing, telling me, oh, I don't like that girl, she's this. But then behind my back, she was going to him, planting seeds in his head, saying, oh no, you're gonna have such a great lifestyle. Your divine feminine, because I was staying home with the kids, she's not gonna be able to provide you anything. Like, you're gonna be taken care of in that marriage. Marry this, karmic, and trust me, like, you want security. And she was just putting all of these negative things in his mind for years, to the point where he, was easily manipulated, to the point where now he's suffering, because he realized that he's not in love with his karmic. He realized that the marriage is a sham. He realizes that this woman faked it. She did tons of witchcraft. He called me up recently, and we had a conversation. We had many conversations, actually, and he's in full communication with me, to the point he's saying that he felt like someone put a spell on him. He said that he felt like his love life was cursed. He told me he was not happy. He told me she wanted to divorce him. My daughters, who now stay with them, after me getting attacked for many years from these darker karmic witches, as well as energy vampires who were wishing me ill will, and they were all feeding off of this, off of my light and my energy and my divine feminine, aura, and my divine feminine power. They were feeding off of that loss of power that, the dark feminines wrongfully stole and destiny swapped for the karmic, so she could be in power and control, which was evil, underhanded, ulterior motives, stemmed from jealousy, competition, envy, that evil eye. Okay, so this is why, it's important to have a strong mind, to cut away these tethers every single day. And my divine masculine, he tells me, I really miss when our daughters were 3 and 4. And this was the time that all of this big blowout from the dark karmic witches, that our love was busted wide open, and he was stolen. And it's called destiny swapping. So a lot of dark karmic, manipulative, evil females, they wanted to feed off of this loss, so they could feel more adequate, so they could feel more whole and more powerful. It was sick, okay? And it is disgusting, okay? And that speaks for their hearts and their wicked spirits, okay? This has nothing to do with the divine feminines. We went through enough. The divine masculine is now learning, and he's awakening to, okay, okay, I got manipulated into this relationship. I see the dark karmic, and I see that she didn't really love me. There was an ulterior motive there, just to have someone help with the bills, or someone just to be with her, just to be with someone, just a very superficial, on the surface level connection. There's no depth to it. There's no real divine love. And so the divine masculines will now start coming out of this darkness. And whatever the divine feminine feels, the divine masculine always feels it, okay? To the point where there was some divine masculines who were spelled so bad from dark karmic witches, to where they had paid spiritual practitioners, and some of them did this themselves, to where they had taken an intranquil spirit, and I say this in my other videos, from the lost souls realm, and they put it a long time ago in the divine masculine's body. Well, now in this black pit, in this like realm that was just nothingness. It was void, completely black or gray and dark. But now divine masculines are slowly coming out of that pit, and they're reclaiming their physical vessels in their bodies, and they're coming back to themselves, okay? Because the divine has unleashed protection now for us twin flames. We're surrounded by divinity, by love, by truth. So divine masculines are now coming out of that void, that dark space, and they're coming back to themselves. They're coming back to their heart spaces. And so now, honestly, the dark karmics are losing a lot of power, because the divine masculines really learned and really got to know and see. They had a lot of time to see who they really shacked up with or who they married. And they really know, okay, like, I had my divine masculine tell me he's not happy. My daughters tell me that she's got anger issues. She's always angry. There's no love between them, and I hate for my daughters to see this type of dynamic. It's just kind of a routine, a matrix on the surface level, shallow, just like, okay, so I shacked up with your divine masculine because, I was so jealous of you. You're a divine feminine. You're so beautiful. And I just wanted to covet what was yours. And, and now the divine masculines are seeing, okay, like, this one who, I got tricked into being with or manipulated into being with, or who I thought was going to be better than my divine feminine for whatever reason, for seeds planted in my head or whatever, for whatever type of, if it was security, stability. Okay, well, she can't do it like the divine feminine. I really miss my divine feminine. I always loved my divine feminine. That love never went away. I was just asleep for a while because they were manipulated. They were being held down in that void, dark space, that dark pit of blackness and nothingness, to the point where now, they're really learning, and that's why they're called karmic partners. So now the divine masculines who have shacked up with the karmic partners, whether they're in a relationship or they're just cohabiting or they're married to them, now they're like, oh fuck, like I've really fucked up. Like, I made the biggest mistake of my life. Like, what was I thinking? Like, they're regretful, okay? They're miserable. They see that connection is going nowhere. It's just like, it's not bringing them peace. It's actually bringing them more misery, because, the dark karmic witches, they're showing their true colors, like Ursula and Erica and the Little Mermaid, to where that's a great demonstration right there of divine feminine. So Ariel was the divine feminine, and Eric was her divine masculine, and then Ursula, being the dark karmic witch, goes and then she shapeshifts. She steals Ariel's voice box and uses it for her own, or Ariel consents to it, whatever, in that contract. And then she shapeshifts into a beautiful, like, understudy or lookalike of Ariel, but with dark hair. And then she tricks Eric, the divine masculine, into marrying her, but it's really Ursula inside it. She's wicked, and this is a perfect demonstration of divine feminines like Ariel and divine masculines like Eric being broken up by the dark karmic witches, okay? So now, divine, masculines, now they're having a choice. Some of them are staying there because of comfortability, that security. Some of them are locked into marriages, to contracts, to where they don't know what the fuck to do. Some of them have taken on such softer life roles of like a feminine, to the point where, their karmics are acting more masculine and taking care of them, to the point where they're just like locked in. Some of them are breaking free. Some of, the first step is always being conscious and being aware, okay? And then as a human, everyone has a free will choice. Okay, am I going to stay and be miserable, or am I going to stand up for myself and reclaim what is mine, or stand up for myself and go for a deep connection and get the love back, or whatever they want to do. But it's a mass shift consciousness in twin flames right now, to where the divine masculines are really waking up, and they're really realizing, and they're, they were in denial before because it was that manipulation they were blinded by. And, now they're very regretful and they're sorrowful, and, they are now realizing and coming into this mass awakening of, fuck, I really messed up. Like, I should have never married this girl. I should have never shacked up with her. This is how she really is. And they're disgusted by this. They're like, this is sick. Like, I don't love her, you know. And then they're remembering you, and then they'll call you. Like, mine just calls me, and he'll be like, I really miss when, you know, he helped me raise my first son. I really miss when Alex, you know, was with us. Alex had such a light, and I miss when the girls were 3 and 4. And he goes always back to this place of when he was negatively, like, taken advantage of, to the point where the dark karmics had split up our connection. So it's always when the girls were 3 and 4. And he brings this up to me daily now, to the point where I'm just like, okay, is he coming back to himself? Like, what is going on? But I can feel that he's aware now. Like, before, the divine feminines, we were aware the whole time. We went through so much shit because, you know, these dark karmics took advantage of our divine masculines, and they had our divine masculines by the balls for some time. They really did, to the point where our souls were screaming out, and we were going through one soul shattering spiritual awakening after another. It was more than dark nights of the soul. It was losing fragments of our soul. Our heart chakras were busted wide open. They were flying into the forest in 100 different pieces. You know, we had to come up from this. We had to really grow and learn and understand, and we had to. Okay, so it was just really harder lessons for us goddess incarnates, the divine feminines of the twin flames. So now the twin flames are coming into realization, to the point where you might be coming out of that no communication phase, and your divine masculine, he's aware now. And now he has to figure out, you know, to be a man and take action, or stay where he is. So everyone has a free will choice. And, you know, depending on the level of manipulation from the dark karmics in his circle, you know, especially if they blackmailed him, a lot of them did blackmail him. My ex-mother-in-law told him that if he didn't, if he got back with me, that she would not give him land. She has a bunch of land, and like in Georgia, like trees that he and his stepfather, when he was an adolescent, planted. She was like, you're not getting a piece of my land. You're not going to get that money. And she blackmailed him. She did a lot of things behind my back. And then she went to the dark karmic and was just like talking him up to her. And then she went to him and was talking down on me, talking her up to, you know, destroy that love that she was very jealous of. She was jealous when I had his daughters, you know, and that was her son. And she just kept meddling, and she just kept wishing harm, you know. And me being telepathic, I'm very telepathic, I was picking up on this. I was, you know, reading her thoughts, and I was reading her intentions. And I was like, oh, okay. And because I'm a soul reader, you know, I'm a claircognizant, a clairsentient, a clairvoyant visionary, telepathic. My psychic gifts are very profound, that I was given to by the divine. You know, and I got attacked for my gifts. And then before you knew, it was after they had seen that they had taken that love from me, they started going in on me and taking advantage of me. And then they started attacking me, whether it was attacking my character, doing character assassination, doing, you know, narcissistic abuse, narcissistic triangulation, to where secular witchcraft, to where narcissistic triangulation, it's like a bunch of karmics were coming for me because they were jealous and envious, and then they were hate bonding on me. So they would just bond off of their animosity or their jealousy of me, and just, you know, mask it as hatred, but then they'd always talk about me or plot on me or wish harm, to where I could feel this. I'm a clairsentient. That's my first and foremost gift, as well as telepathy, and a soul reader, to where I could read energy, I could read thoughts, I could read intentions, I could read motives. And it saved me in the plaza that I just went through. It saved me as a little girl, knowing like when a, you know, darker entity walked into my house when I was 10, I knew something really was very wrong. So like, my gifts have always had my back. Like, so what we're going to do is we're going to cut these tethers and these lower vibrationals, okay, out of us, out of our auric fields, excuse me. And if you don't know about this, this is a juice that I have, which I've been lacking on. I haven't really been drinking it. This one is pineapple mango. It's not the best tasting one. I put lots of lemon and lime in it, as well as cinnamon. But I'm going to take out now negative vibrations with my selenite. So as a divine feminine, you know, defeating all of the karmic attacks. So this acts as a magnet. This is black tourmaline in here, as well as some aluminum shavings, selenite, and this is called an orgonite or an orgondome, and this will magnetically suck out negative, lower vibrations, pollutants, bad vibrations, lower vibrational energies. And then with my black tourmaline arrow head, I'm going to cut. So, you know, the divine feminine, we went through a lot. We went through a lot in this lifetime. It was a really hard lesson for us to learn when we lost the love of our divine masculines. And, you know, that was our rock, that was our backbone, that was our other half, that was our protector, our provider. So we really went through it, you know, from like 2017. Some of us are still going through it now, or from 2017 all the way up until last year. All I needed was my twin flame to come to the realization of what had happened, which he's called me and professed several times now, to the point where he's told me, okay, you know, I can't believe that, like, I'm saying this, but I think someone, you know, put something in my food. I stopped eating the Karmics food and I feel different. I don't know why I can't come back. Like, she's nothing in bed to you, you know, you're bomb, and I'm here. I can't come back. Like, I don't know what happened. And then, like, then he'll be like, you know, I'm gonna come back by this date. And that was the start of it. This was like back in the beginning of, like, you know, the middle of 2018 to 2019 in January. And then she started throwing really bad magic on him, keeping him like trapped with her, to the point where she was narcissistically like triangulating us, to the point where, you know, and then taking his mother and just the other dark karmic witches with her, and then even the mothers. Like, it just all depends who the dark karmics are in your circle. And then it was like they would vibe off of, okay, well, we know that he's really meant for the divine feminine, but we have him over here, haha. And they'll like laugh in the divine feminine's face, and then they'll bond over that hatred, and then they'll plot even more, to the point where they plotted some of the divine masculines into a marriage contract, you know, which is a karmic contract. Because, you know, everything can be gone like this. Like, when we pass away, we're not able to take our marriage contracts, our cars, our houses, our mortgages with us. So everything was just on this basic, like, shallow level. It wasn't on a soul level. And they were really taking from and feeding off of our divine feminine and divine masculine, that loss. They were feeding off of that profound, you know, loss, the sadness and the depression that came with that, the, you know, the tumultuous emotions. They were feeding on us. They were feeding on our frustration. They were feeding off of our angst and our anger. They were feeding off of our sadness, our anxiety, for years. And a lot of divine masculines and feminines are coming out of this now, and they're in full communication. And mine will be like, always, like, you don't know how, he goes, you don't know how bad I think about back when the girls were 3 and 4. You don't know how much I think of, like, when Alex was little, which is my first son. You don't know how much I miss our family together. You don't know how much, like, he admits it, like, oh, I should have married you, you know. And even though he can't fully express an apology, I feel his regret. I feel that he feels now, and he's back to himself. And I'm just like, okay, so now he knows, and that's all I needed for closure. Because some of us, you know, we were split up to the point where now they will think that, okay, well, since I married karmic Kara, and, you know, she brings in a significant amount of bread, I'm just going to stay here just to be comfortable, because, you know, divine Deanna, you know, she's, and then they'll use that, because these karmics, it's so matrixy. This world is so like, okay, well, does she have her own career? Oh, she doesn't have her own career. Okay, then there's no future. To where divine masculines now don't have to act in their divine masculine energy. They actually fall back and they're very soft and they want to live a soft girl life. I hate to say this, but it's the truth. And I know my daughter Ariana right now, she would be laughing because she's very much goddess incarnate like me. She's very much cutthroat to the point where it's like we cannot lie, we cannot mask shit. Like it's just like, okay, like in your face, like this is how it is, like tell it like it is. But a lot of men these days don't really take on the role of that divine masculinity, that man role. A lot of men are very soft, which it's fine if you're soft, okay, but like some women who have, you know, a lot of divinity in them, you know, we expect or we want to see a man in his full potential of his divine masculine, which is very rare. You know, and so like divine feminines who we both embody both divine masculine and divine feminine, and you know that if you're a divine feminine, your masculinity, it's very fiery, okay? It's part of your power. You also have, you know, especially after your divine masculine got wrongfully stolen from you from these dark karmics, and their ill wishes and these alpha draconians, because alpha draconians did it too, as well as reptilians, not just dark karmic witches, but a lot of those star seeds, the more corruptive evil star seeds of the alpha draconians and the alpha reptilians, they also did things in thought forms, spells, whether it's, you know, graveyard dirt or candle spells or just malicious, baneful tongue spells, to where they'll speak something or they'll think and they'll concentrate about it really hard, and then boom, before you know it, it's like a bomb. Like it explodes your twin flame relationship to the point where you're just like, what the fuck just happened? And you'll hear these alpha draconians, and that some of them will say it out loud, like, oh, I wish she was single forever, or, you know, oh, I hope that bitch loses her man. Oh, she ain't shit to me. And they'll just be really vibrating off of this hateful low vibration, and you're just over here like, kind of heal yourself. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, well, this person's hurt. Obviously, they're trying to put that hurt and project. And this is what they do. Whether it's a alpha reptilian, an alpha draconian, an energy vampire, or a dark karmic witch, they'll use all of their angst and hate in them, and then they'll project it on the twin flames to the point where they'll manifest a breakup for you guys, and then they'll feed off of that fucking void there. They'll feed off of that emptiness from the breakup. They'll feed off of the depression, the anxiety, that angst. They'll feed off of that suffrage. Okay, they're not allowed to feed on you. They're not supposed to do that. That's not what divine feminines and divine masculine twin flames, you know, signed up for. We have signed up for, yes, learning lessons and divine love, okay, divine love over mankind, and our divine God and goddess birthrights, okay? So this is why we have to call our power and our energy back to us, and we have to cut and clear every day. So this is kind of a longer session today because there was a lot that I had to really like educate or school the collective of, because, you know, I'm very divine to the point where, you know, I didn't go out looking for this spiritual involvement twin flame thing. This chose me. I was called, you know. I have so much light in me to the point where a lot of energy vampires will try to feed off of my goddess chi life force energy, and they have no right to feed off of my light or my beauty or my twin flame dynamic relationship, because my twin flame, we still have a type of relationship to where, you know, we co-parent or we're parents to our children to the point where he will let them call me every other night or every 2 nights, you know what I mean? Or sometimes every night, depending. You know, and he'll let me talk to my daughters right in front of his karmic's face, to the point where my daughter will even tell me, okay, like, so-and-so has anger issues. I don't like my mommy. I don't like her. You know, she has a lot of problems and she's not nice to me. Like, she doesn't cook for me. And it's just like, you know, she's not divine if she cannot even fucking act like a goddamn, you know what I mean? She doesn't have any nurturing in her. She doesn't have what divine feminines have in us. We're very nurturing, you know, and we can be, but if someone takes us out of our divine feminine energy, we go into our masculine energy, and that's when the fire comes out. And then that's what these mortals don't fucking get. They don't understand about the divine feminine masculine fire, or better term is the divine feminine rage. So the sacred rage of the divine feminine. It's like you unleash the dragon, okay? Don't unleash the dragon if you don't want fire to blow back on you what you just unleashed. But then that's how the energy vampires feed. And then they feed off of that fire to the point where they use that for their own energy, whether it's making phone calls or going to the gym or just living their basic ass lives, to the point where they feed off of you. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to take out them feeding off of you with my black onyx and my smoky quartz. So we're just going to be releasing, and just take deep breaths as I pull this energy out of you. Take a deep breath in, and when I blow, release. Excuse me. So what we're now doing is we're going to clear out all of this divine, or this karmic witch, these karmic witch tethers, these dark karmic tethers that, okay, these darker manipulative creatures, or whatever they are, have done, which I know exactly what they are, and I've just explained it thoroughly. So I'm going to keep cutting. So I'm going to use a beautiful labradorite to cut, okay? So if it's your manipulative ex-mother-in-law, let's pull this out and cut. If it's your manipulative sister, pull it out and cut. If it's your manipulative cousin, pull out and cut. If it's your manipulative friend, pull out and cut. If it's your manipulative mother, cut. If it's your manipulative whoever, we're just going to cut all of these off now. All of their elbow wishes, we're going to cut, okay? I'm going to take my smoky black tourmaline arrowhead, and I'm going to do this again with this. This is very powerful. It's more powerful than the labradorite in protection and shielding. And we're going to do this. We're going to take out the divine, or we're going to take out the dark karmic witch's thought forms, projections on your aura and your twin flame relationship. We're going to take this out now. We're cutting it all away. There's a lot too. I see a lot. And they're dark and murky. Some of them are gray and lifeless, like a void color. Some of them are noodly and black. Some of them are brown, looking like tree branches. It's really disgusting energy. That, you know, and then they have the nerve to blame this on the Diablo, or an ancient god like Lucifer, the light bearer, the light bringer. Because this is how, you know, they blame shift, and they don't take accountability. They have to blame it on, you know, an entity who really was trying to show us our inner power, our truth, so we could be our own gods and goddesses of our own lives, so we can go and work and create for ourselves and start our own businesses and be in our power, okay? This all ties into the Matrix. It all ties into NWO, whether it's a Freemason or a reptilian or an Alpha Draconian or whatever. And lots of these dark karmics will be very archonic. Archons are, you know, that agenda that I've been talking about in my videos. Archons, reptilians, they could hide behind pastors and churches. They could hide behind your mother-in-law. They could hide behind your sister, or your mother, or your cousin, or your friend. They could hide in, you know, schools as guidance counselors. They could be firefighters, cops, you know, crooked cops. They could be your niece, your nephew. It could be anybody. You know, and it's very archonic and basic, and they're very unawakened. They're very asleep. Okay, they don't know why they do these things. They just do them. Because, you know, they're conditioned to. It's archonic from the religions or generational curses, which I will get into in another video. That's a whole other subject that I could talk about for hours. You know, but I will be doing a video on a generational curse, and we will be breaking that. But right now, this is focusing on taking out all of those manipulative tethers and hooks from those dark karmic witches that interfered in your twin flame connection. And we're going to do this stemming from the dream state now. So now we're going to take out, okay, this from the dream state. So amethyst is perfect. Amethyst, you know, you want to keep this, sleep by this, because amethyst connects to your dreams. It very much protects you on that 4D, 5D level, as well as 6D through 12D. So we want to just take out, a lot of dark karmics have actually attacked divine feminines in our dream states, which this is another thing I want to talk about, and I'm being guided to talk about. This is actually, I'm a conduit of spirit, so my goddesses in the divine want me to talk about how divine feminines were attacked by these dark karmics who wrongfully stole our divine masculines, and they came for us in the dream state, okay, to the point where they spelled the fuck not only out of our divine masculines, but they spelled our dreams. Some of them shape-shifted and took another form of a spirit animal and monitoring spirit to watch us, and some of them were able to get other spellcasters and tap into our dreams with those witches' powers, you know, and then some of them spelled you so bad, the divine feminines, to where they took your dreams away. My dynamic was, she went into my dreams and she got on those astral levels and she took my dreams away for about 6 years. I wasn't having any dreams. I wasn't remembering them, because we have them, but she literally had blocked my dreams to the point where I couldn't astral project or have my divine masculine astral project to me. So she put a block on us for a very long time, to where last year I just broke this off and I'm able to start remembering some dreams. It's not as active as I would like, but the dreams come, and they keep doing this too. They'll keep trying to, you know, and then these dark karmic witches, they'll have witch powers, some of them, to where they can shapeshift. You know, they could use monitoring spirits, like spirit animals, like ravens, to even come to you and monitor you, or it could be in a form of a moth, or you know, a vulture. Just those darker, because I can't really say, okay, like crows, I love crows. Crows are one of my spirit animals. But raven, it's, okay, it's in the family of crow, but ravens are more darker. They're more wicked. They're not like a regular crow. This is from my experience now. Ravens are not my spirit animal. Crow is one of them. But I know when, you know, a raven comes around me, I know who sends it to me. There's some witches who do this. Just like I know when someone sends me like a death moth, and I'll know when, you know, even these animals or these insects will, you know, come as a warning. Like when I see sticks in nature, and I'm very intuitive, and then I see a lot of sticks that are like in the shape of an X and nobody put them there, that's nature's way of telling me, okay, be prepared for another spiritual attack from this dark karmic that stole your twin flame, or from his mother, or from an archon, or a draconian, or someone, you know, like a darker entity, a shadow person, or an energy vampire. And nature will tell me, okay, because I'm very connected to the elements. Okay, so as a divine feminine, you know about the sacred rose, you know about, you know, and I did a light language Anunnaki channel with that. But I want to focus more, excuse me, I have cinnamon sticks that my pit bull kind of dragged over here. She was, okay, so I'm going to be using my astrophyllite and my smoky quartz, and I'm going to be taking more negative vibrations, lower vibrations from these dark karmic witches out of your aura. So now I'm just going to be pulling this out of you. And this video is probably one of my most prominent or important videos, because I am very much a divine feminine. I'm very powerful in my divine goddess birthright, to the point where the gods and the goddesses, the divine, you know, had me sit here and channel all of this information for the Twin Flame Collective, which I was trying to do for years, but the dark karmic witches were blocking me, and they were feeding off of my angst and my rage and my pain, and they had no right to do that. But I had just recently come back into my power, and I called my power, my divinity, my birthright, and my goddess divine destiny back to me, and I reclaimed what was stolen from me. So now I'm able to use my voice to educate the masses of the Twin Flame Collective spiritually about what really had happened. It was a huge Twin Flame soul loss. It was a huge war on the divine masculine and divine feminines, and I'm not going to keep my mouth shut about this anymore. I'm going to, you know, step into my power as I just am and have, and I'm going to speak on this, which I'm going to use my throat chakra crystal, my iolite, to cleanse your throat chakras, divine feminine, so you are able to stand up and speak your truth to yourself in the mirror, as well as reclaim your divinity, reclaim your power, reclaim your sovereignty, you know, your sovereign. Reclaim what's yours. Reclaim what was wrongfully taken, what they stole from you, that they had no right stealing from you. They were feeding off of you. Nobody was allowed to feed off of you. They're not allowed to feed off of you. So this is why we have to fortify our energetic boundaries, call our power back to us, and cut and clear on a daily and a nightly basis. Okay? So now I'm going to go back into that dream state, and I'm going to take out what the dark karmic witches attacked you in your dreams. So we're going to take this out. Take out all those tethers, those blockages. That is the divine, not the divine anything, because divine don't do this. If you're up on a high frequency, you're not going to go around and be like, how am I going to fuck up someone's day? Because you're on a low vibrational frequency. Only the lower vibrational frequencies, energy vampires, the dark karmic witches will do shit like that. The divine feminines, we will stand up and reclaim what is rightfully ours and call our power back to us, and we will say the truth, and we will, you know, always have this light in our souls. We're divine, we were chosen. But the dark karmic witches, we're going to take out what these dark karmic witches did to block our connection with our, you know, divine partners in our dreams. We're going to just take out all these tethers, all of this manipulation, this dark magic, this baneful magic, this malicious intended magic, these projections, this malefic magic, this shape-shifting magic, okay? Glamour magic spells, destiny swapping. These soul losses that you didn't deserve to go through. They had no right taking it. They thought they could fuck around, but then they fucked around and found out that you were more powerful. You defeated them. You're still breathing. Your divinity, your light. You're also shadow in your love. And you have to love yourself through all of your parts, whether it's your shadow, whether it's your light. And you have to express that divine feminine love. I'm going to still work on the dream state levels with my beautiful Lemurian ametrine here. It's very Lemurian quartz. So I'm just going to go into your dream astral tethers, your dream astral levels, and take out these tethers that these dark karmic witches put to block you from your divine partnership or from communicating with your divine feminine or divine masculine in your dreams. It's going to be really up and your upper chakras here. So I'm going to go into your third eye, and I'm going to just kind of pinch. Okay, so I'm going to go into your third eye, and this is not going to hurt you physically. It's just going to now that I've cut that open, Now I could go up into your astral levels. So now I'm going to go into your third eye chakra, your pineal gland, cut off any blockages that the dark karmic witches put to, you know, create obstacles in your twin flame relationship on the dream, the astral levels, the ethereal levels. Now I'm going to go to your crown chakra. I'm going to get a bunch of tethers. Wow, there's a lot. So, okay, yeah, the dark karmic witches, they really blocked you. They really blocked the divine feminines and the divine masculines from reaching each other on the astral levels in the dreams, the dream states. Wow, it's a lot, okay? I'm going up to your soul star chakra, as well as your crown chakra and your third eye, and I'm going to be pulling all of this, wow, a lot out there. I see them as like some are very noodly, just disgusting energy. They're like gray, slimy, sneaky energy, like snake energy, snakes in the grass, malicious, baneful. I'm going to cut, let me just use a little bit more, because there's a lot now. I see a lot in my third eye. I could see, wow, a lot of sneaky energy up in here. This really, it's just really disappointing that these dark karmic entities, these shadow witches and these shapeshifters and these manipulators just did this to the Twin Flame Collective. And then they had the balls to call themselves prophetesses, or, you know, be up in the church or write books and say they were of God and divinity when they weren't. And then they have the nerve to fucking blame all of their, you know, toxicity and their maliciousness and their wicked-heartedness on the light bearer and his brother, which is bullshit. So I'm gonna take all this bullshit out right now. Here we go. So now you guys are gonna start feeling more clear. If you need to release, if you need to cry this out, scream in a pillow, punch an old couch cushion, old pillow, whatever. If you need to go to the damn gun range or go into the forest and have your friend throw a plate and then you shoot it and bust it wide open with that gun, do what you gotta do, because you're releasing a lot. So this is on the astral levels. I'm still gonna be working, and then I can feel things. Hold on. I'm gonna keep going with that, but I felt something try to really hook into me spiritually to the point where okay. Let me continue with our session. There's a lot of dark energies here that I'm cutting out, that the dark karmics placed here, I mean. So now this is a beautiful smoky quartz. I'm still working up in these astral dream levels, and it's a lot of cords, like 100 or so cords, to the point where they really put blockages and created obstacles and created problems. It was unwarranted. You didn't ask for this. They thought they could come up and be sneaky like snakes and just really perforate in your relationship and play in y'all's face. The whole time they were playing, like, they were playing both sides. Wow, it's very sneaky and manipulative, very slithering like a snake, and I'm very disappointed. To the point where it's like, I knew this in my soul, but to come up here in these astral levels and to see these cords that they put and these blockages and these obstacles and all of from these problems they did, and a lot of it was dark magic. A lot of it was malefic intent, baneful magic, malefic magic. Whether it was, a lot of them used candle spells, a lot of them used spiritual practitioners. Very, 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 you know, and then they tried to feed off of the pain. This is a purple fluorite. This very much goes to your mental and your dreams. So now I'm going to be clearing any mental blockages that they put on you, divine feminines. Not just that blocked you from your divine masculine or blocked him from you, but I'm going to be clearing out. So they were astral projecting to you for some time, and they were getting into your dream states, into your subconscious. They were sneaky, slithering snakes, these dark karmic witches. They would say something or be very mental themselves and wish something, and then they would get into your dream states. There's a lot of cords that I'm clearing, because I am a divine feminine goddess incarnate, so I was chosen for this, and they were waiting for me to wake up and come back to my power. Now I'm going to use the ultimate huge dream amethyst here to get into these. Wow, it's just a lot of sneaky, slimy, disgusting energy that I'm pulling out of, like, the whole divine feminine twin flame collective. Even if you're a divine masculine watching this, this will also work for you as well. It's disgusting energy that these dark karmic witches really put out there for you guys, to the point where wow, excuse me, I'm seeing blood roots as well. So I'm going to go down now. Let me seal your chakras up here really quick. Let me seal these. I'm just going to be sealing your pineal gland that I cut. Okay. And then I'm going to go down to the lower chakras now, because I'm seeing blood roots that dark karmic witches put on your divine masculine. And I'm going to be cutting these away, because this is disgusting energy. He was forced by magic and energy, okay? Because that really is, it's energy. Everything's energy. Here. I'm going to be doing... So this will go into your base chakra. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to perforate in your base chakra, and this is just energetically, as well as your sacral chakra. And then to your sacral chakra. Let's do this again. Now that those are busted wide open, I'm going to take my carnelian and I'm going to go into your sacral chakra, your sacred womb space or your reproductive space, and I'm going to cut out these blood ties and these blood cords that these sneaky, nasty, dark karmic witches put into your divine masculine to block you. This is disgusting energy. So this is a breakthrough today. This is an epiphany session, because for years I was asleep and I was feeling it, and then people were like, oh, she's crazy, and they weren't believing me, but I knew it was very real because I could feel it and I could sense it, and then I started seeing it, to the point where the dark karmic witches were trying to take my clairvoyance away. They were trying to take my inner power away, of course, and then they were trying to blind me in my dream states on those astral levels. They started astral projecting to me. They started going into those cords and hooking into my back and making me have physical pain through my bodily meridian centers and through my chakras, and then on those dream states, okay? And they still try to do it, but I know how to clear it now, you know? So let me just go into your... This is a lot of work. Energetically, to the point where I'm going to come back to this in a minute. When I feel a tether or a hook come through, I could feel things, to the point where I have to stop sometimes in my sessions and clear it before it gets physically attached. I could feel it even attach energetically, or I could see it coming. Excuse me. So we're just going to clear away. Excuse me, guys. And then sometimes if it can't attach to my base root chakra like it did, it'll try to attach to my throat chakra and come and attack there, to the point where... And this is very real, okay? So I'm going to keep going. I'm going into your... Let me just perforate one more time through your sacral chakra. Okay, it's just energetically. Now I'm gonna take out hooks. Wow, they put a lot of roots. They put blood roots on your twin flame to the point where they tried to claim him energetically and witchcraftedly. They put a claim on him to the point where they hooked him magically and did physical spells with his hair or his nails, and even put things in his food and his drinks. This is what witches do. I'm a divine feminine. I'm not a dark witch like that. That's not what I was called and chosen to do. So, and that's a personal choice. You're not really called. You know, though there will be dark feminines who claim that they're prophetesses. They'll claim they're Christians, but they're really wicked, and then they'll blame it on an entity like Satan or his brother Lucifer. But it's really them. It's really their hearts that are wicked. And then that's how they validate themselves. You know, that's how they are able to sleep well at night. And it's really corruptive and really manipulative. And unfortunately, there's a lot of negative energy manipulators out there. And they use power of the tongue spells. This is how a lot of them use power of the tongue spells, or they'll hook into your divine masculine and use, you know, they'll plant the power of the tongue in his head. And they'll just be thinking like, you know, especially if you're the more awakened one in your connection. And, you know, there's always one that's, yeah, he was chosen, but he's awakened. But then some dark karmic will come up and try to block that awakening and then put negative false seeds. Or maybe he's not as deeply awakened as you are, hasn't had as many spiritual evolvements or spiritual awakenings as you, to the point where he'll be like, oh yeah, that's just my mom. Like, she, you know. But does your mom really care about you? If she's trying to meddle in your relationship and break you up from your divine feminine, does she really love you? You know what I mean? It's very manipulative and corruptive. That's not love. So we must call our power back to us, reclaim our divinity, reclaim our sovereignty, our power. Okay. I'm also going to be going into your root chakra. Do that one more time. There we go. Now I'm going to be cutting away the cords that these dark karmic witches did in your base or root chakra. It's the same chakra. It's right at the base of your spine, underneath your sacral chakra, underneath your sacred womb space, or underneath your, it's not that place, it's lower, it's the base of the spine. But they have, some of them have hooked into you there, and they are chronically just, you know, negatively impacted. You know, they messed with your security, they messed with your rooting and your anchoring in some other Gaia, and it wasn't cool. To the point where they, and then after this, we're going to go to your solar plexus chakra, your inner powerhouse of your emotions and the way you view yourself. Not just your self-accomplishments, yes, but your self-esteem, your self-worth. We're going to call your sovereignty back to you. You're going to reclaim your dominion and over what is, you know, what was stolen from you. You're going to take it back. You're going to take your power back. So now I feel sorry for the dark karmics, the energy vampires, the dark karmic witches, the draconians, the reptilians, the alpha, you know, reptilians and alpha draconians, because now they're not going to have a pot to piss in. So gonna make an incision in your solar plexus now. Just one more time. Now that that's open, take my jade and slice. Okay, wow, so I'm seeing lots of gray, noodly, sneaky, slithering cords that these bitches tried to use to meddle in your relationship. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of them. This is some bullshit that we're gonna clear right now. So they tried to blind his inner power, and they tried to bind him to them away from you, which I'm seeing in the base root chakra, in the sacral, and in the solar plexus. They even tried to get in y'all's dreams. Like, I just cleared out all of your upper chakras, your soul star, your crown, and your third eye, your pineal gland. They were slithering, nasty snake in the grass energies. Wow, they were really shady and shisty. They really had nerve to do this to the divine feminine, divine masculine, twin flame collective. And they did this shit for years. Hold on. I'm going to work a lot here for a while in this solar plexus chakra. Let me use this. Wow. So they really tried, you guys. They tried us. They're showing me, my spirit guides are showing me this smoky quartz crystal right here. He's a rather small one, but he'll do the job and get those sneaky links out of there, to the point where they're even having the divine feminines create sneaky links or think that they were the karmics and create this negative connotation in her mind and try to shut off her, you know, inner powerhouse, the solar plexus chakra or whatever. They were trying to dim her light and take her power away, and then have her thinking she was a karmic, and then have her thinking that she was just going to settle for these shallow, superficial, non-deep connections like she deserved. Wow. So I'm seeing these cords, and I'm going to go back up as well. This is a desert rose. This is going to reclaim your divinity back to you. Also cut cords from how they tried to take your power and take what was wrongfully theirs, what was rightfully yours, and your goddess divine birthright. And they had no right doing this. And they fucked up y'all's relationship for years. They had no right. Now, they did a lot of damage here, to the point where I gotta clear this out now. Now I'm just pulling out all of these lower vibrational tethers and cords that they put in your solar plexus chakra to take what was wrongfully theirs. It was not their business to take this from you. It was a divine connection. And they made you miss out on years of your life together, of this lifetime, and they wrongfully took it. It wasn't theirs to take. They had no business. They had no right to take this. And they were hiding behind, you know, their religion, their archonic, matrixy, disgusting, you know, wolf in sheep's clothing or whatever. They're hiding behind that mask. And they're using all of that power, that false power, to propel them forward. And validate them, like. And then they were saying that, oh, the divine feminine is the devil. And who's the devil? Lucifer, Satan, all that archonic bullshit. And it would validate them, and it will probe them to come more after you, because they were archonically conditioned to believe this. So they thought you were the enemy, and they were literally coming for you guys. 144. So I'm seeing, okay, 777. So if you're seeing this number a lot, I'm speaking to you. 888. 1111 222. 111 1010. Okay. So now you're going to hold a crystal. I'm going to hold this, and you're going to say this. I call all of my power back to me. I call my divine goddess power, sovereignty, and energy back to me from dark karmic witches, energy vampires, alpha reptilians, alpha draconians, from people, places, things, realms, dimensions, across all timelines, in this life and all past lives, throughout the 4 directions. 3 times 3 times 3. As I will it, so mote it be. So you call your power back. One more time. Okay, we're going to use a beautiful tangerine aura quartz and her mama, as well as a beautiful Rado rune, a carnelian rune that connects into the sacral chakra. These connect into the sacral chakra, and then we're going to also use my beautiful citrine. We're going to make a little crystal grid in my hand here, a desert rose. Okay, so hold this in your hand, as well as a beautiful Lemurian quartz, because this will amplify the crystals and their power together. I call all of my goddess divinity, power, energy, sovereignty back to me. I call and reclaim my goddess birthright back to me from energy vampires, lower vibrational dark karmic witches, across all realms, across all dimensions, across all timelines, across this life and past lifetimes, as well as through the 4 directions. I call my energy, my power, my goddess birthright, my god birthright, my divinity, my sovereignty, and my goddess energy power back to me. 3 times 3 times 3. As I will it, so mote it be. And let that seep into your aura. Remember, you're still open on your lower chakras. I call all of my power and my energy back to me from what was stolen, what was taken from me. I call my twin flame connection back to me. I call my twin flame communication back to me. I reclaim on the dream state levels, the astral levels, the etheric levels, what is back to me, what they stole from me. I call it back to me. I call my sovereignty back to me. My aura is sealed. My energetic boundaries are fortified. I am powerful. I am protected. I am the love. I am the truth. I am the light. I am the awakening. I am the goddess. I am the god. 3 times 3 times 3. As I will it, so mote it be. So once you learn to vibe in your truth and your light and your love and your inner power, now nobody can take it from you. So now we're going to seal up. We're going to seal up the base chakra, okay? I'm going to put some Reiki symbols here, as well as Sun God Ra. I'm going to go up to the sacral chakra. I'm going to seal this up. Now I'm going to go up to your solar plexus chakra and seal this up. Okay. Put some fire Reiki symbols there. Okay, now that we've sealed up those, I'm going to go up to your, I'm going to kind of, okay, they're telling me that I need to perforate a little bit more in your soul star chakra. Let me just make a little, your soul star and your crown chakras. And they show me which crystals I need to use for this. That was your soul star. This is your crown. Energy. Okay, so now I'm just going to be pulling out all of these nasty hooks in, once again, your upper 2 chakras, your soul star and your crown chakra, because they put a lot of hooks intergalactically on you in your dream states, to where when you dream, you're not conscious. Okay, this is your subconscious, your 4D and your 5D, and they put lots of blockages. I'm seeing lots of black, like noodly cords, to the point where I'm going to actually use my smoky quartz they're showing me to perforate their disgusting energies. And this is going to be a longer session today. I did not plan this. This is what the divine is working, channeling through me as I am also a conduit as well as a soul reader. I could read people's ulterior motives, their intentions. I could read their souls. I could see the types of spirits in bodies. I have tons and tons of gifts. It is very hard for somebody like me to be in the matrix, because then I start embodying and like a sponge, picking up on their motives, seeing the type of wicked spirits in bodies, which there's a lot of corruptive spirits, unfortunately, on Mother Gaia. It's not her fault. It's, you know, you already know the Archons. It's the Archonic agenda, the NWO, the Alpha Reptilians, the Draconians, energy vampires, shadows, the darker, you know, the Jinn. Okay, so now they're telling me to seal this up. That was your third eye chakra. I'm just going to do a little bit more cutting in your... I'm sorry, that was your crown chakra. I'm going to do cutting out of your soul star chakra, because they really tried to mess with who even you thought were your spirit guides. They had you thinking, divine feminines, they had your power taken, which we already called it back. But they had you thinking that you were the karmic, and they had you thinking and questioning who your spirit guides were, and they had you questioning your worth. They had you questioning your past lives. And us in divinity or divine, we don't question, we know. So now I'm going to be sealing this up with my apophyllite crystal, as well as my diamond helix angel aura crystal, and my angel wing diamond angel aura crystal. So now take a deep breath and release. If you need to go into the forest, if you need to go take a walk, if you need to scream into the forest, scream into the pillow, punch a pillow, cry it out, do whatever you need to, sweat it out, exercise, you know, spinning classes, whatever, breath work, yoga, sound bowl, healing, Pilates, cardio, weightlifting, whatever you need to do to release, do it. Okay? So you've reclaimed your power. How does it feel to be back in your body? How does it feel to call back what was lost and stolen and reclaimed? It feels good, right? So now I'm going to be just using the feather. And I'm going to be fluffing your aura with this feather. Putting some Reiki in here for you to keep you protected throughout the day. Make sure your aura is sealed, there's no leaks, which I want to use more of my angel wing, angel aura, diamond crystal here. I'm going to be putting Reiki around your aura now, as well as Sun God Ra, Rado, protection around your solar plexus chakra. I'm also going to be putting some fire Reiki here to protect you all around your aura, you guys. Just to seal up any leaks or holes that these dark karmic witches were using to hook into you. It was disgusting energy that I just really cut out. You're going to have to shed at some point today. So, you know, I was guided to do this. I'm a conduit. I want to do this also with my beautiful, huge, this one split in half. This one, he was a beautiful big quartz, but when I got attacked in the plaza, he was like this, and then there's a piece right here. You just use this owl really quick because I felt something try to go over my head as well as my back, and I'm gonna use him to clear and fluff your aura, and not just fluff your aura, but seal any leaks, seal any holes so they can't hook into you. So let me do some Reiki in here for you. Okay. I'm going to do some Usai Reiki symbols as well as fire Reiki symbols right now because I am a master of both. I'm going to go to your chakras. Let me just move this really fast. I don't knock the plate down like I almost did in my session yesterday. Another Usai Reiki symbol. Okay. Some fire Reiki. Okay, now that you're sealed, there's no more leaks. Okay. They also told me to do one more. So I hope you guys had a good session. I hope you gained knowledge. For those of you who, didn't understand, but you felt this as well in the Twin Flame Collective, in your Twin Flame Divine Partnership Union, and you felt these blockages and these, from all the breakups and the manipulation, never second guess yourself, okay? Remember, you are the power. You are sovereignty. You are the light. You are the truth. You are the spiritual evolvement. You are the love. You are the medicine. So one more time, I want you to call your power back to you. I call all of my power back to me from energy vampires, people who have stolen my power from me across all realms, all timelines, all dimensions, and throughout the 4 directions. 3 times 3 times 3, as I will it, so mote it be. And then Sun God Ra wants to come through, and he wants me to put this in your solar plexus and seal it up more. And he wants me to kind of put this in that powerhouse center to where you are protected. Sun God Ra, the sun, as well as the Ankh. Okay. And then he wants me to make an energy ball from my own energy, which I know how to do this. I'm very skilled at this. And I'm going to put this on your solar plexus and your aura. This is a shield now. Now you're shielded. Your leaks are covered. You are divine. You are sovereignty. You are power. You are the truth. You are the light. You are the mystic, the shaman. You are the medicine. You are the love. And never ever doubt yourself again. And know that you now stand in your power, in your truth. You are divinity. You are sovereignty. Call your power back to you on a daily basis. Do I am affirmations. I am powerful. I am confident. I am beautiful. I call my power back to me from darker forces that try to steal it from me. I call my power, my sovereignty, and my divine goddess birthright back to me from people, places, things, energy vampires, shadow people, dark feminines, dark karmic witches that they have stolen from me. I call it all back to me now. 3 times 3 times 3, as I will it, so mote it be. So now, I want you to vibe in your power. Now that you're awakened, you're aware, you've called your power back to you. I want you to create. I want you to move your body. I want you to go for a walk. Go fruit picking, pick some leaves, some flowers, do Pilates, you know. Do what you have to do. Breath work, sound bowl healing, you know. Maybe find a feather, kind of play with it a little. I love you guys, and remember, you are divine, and never forget it. Never forget your power, and call your goddess or your god birthright back to you, okay? I call my goddess and my god birthright back to me. I call my sovereignty, my power back to me. I call my twin flame connection back to me, or I call a new soulmate to me, which we could go into in another video, to where if you really feel like you're never going to come back into union again with your twin flame, you always can call forth on your soulmate, okay? So there's other divine connections. It may not be as deep and profound as that twin flame, divine masculine, divine feminine love, but it's another deep form of love and connection. So it may not be as deep as a twin flame, but you could still call it in if you're ready, and if, you know, that's what you desire, if that's what you want. So I love you guys, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Be blessed and stay divine. And remember, you are the medicine. You are sovereign. You are sovereignty. Never forget it.